Alright, hi, my name's Ian, and today we're going to be discussing lines of symmetry. A line of symmetry is a line that can be drawn through some shape or objects that will create two perfect halves. And what I mean by two perfect halves is that everything on one side of this line is going to look like everything on the opposite side of this line. To focus on this topic, we're going to recreate some patterns that have been pre-measured to ensure that each shape is going to actually have a perfect line of symmetry. First, I'm going to show you an example of what I mean using the simplest shape that we're going to use today, which is going to be our square. The square is 16 inches around the perimeter, 4 inches on each side. So we're going to start off by tracing your shape. Alright. And then you're going to go ahead and cut out your shape, of course. Now, while we're doing this, let's remember how we defined a line of symmetry. And it's going to be something that divides your shape or object into two perfect halves. So that means you're going to have to be drawing this line somewhere around the middle, of course. So we're taking our measurement of 4 inches that we got on our pattern, and we're going to cut that in half. 4 divided by 2 is going to be 2, of course. So once you get your shape all cut out, you're going to use whatever measuring instrument you have available. A ruler, I guess, would be the best, but I only had a measuring tape. So you're going to take your measuring tape, put it perfectly across the back, find the 2-inch mark, okay, and then I suggest that when you're doing this, you mark your object on both sides of that 2-inch mark using a straight edge. I probably should have used a piece of paper or something like that, but you get the idea. So make sure it's a straight line and make sure you're marked at 2 inches on each side. So this is going to be halfway across your shape. Now, as I was saying before, this is going to be a line where you can fold it in half. You're going to fold it in half right at that line, and you're going to notice that your shape is going to be the same on both sides of that line, just like our definition says. Alright, now we're going to try a few more complicated shapes. I'm going to start off by tracing those on your piece of paper. And you want to notice a few different things about these shapes as we're doing this. The rectangle is very much like the square, but since the rectangle is going to have two different measurements for its width and its length, unlike the square which had the same measurements for each, it's going to have two lines of symmetry. So here we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we were with the square. The next shape that we're going to move on to after that is going to be the circle, and we're going to rely on that measurement that's on that pattern and use your ruler to do that. After that, we'll move on to our right triangle, and we're going to find the line of symmetry in this triangle using a definition that we probably have already talked about before. Alright, so we're going to be cutting those out, but to save a little bit of time, we've done this beforehand. Okay, and you're going to go back to your measurements here. So let's start with the rectangle. The rectangle is going to be 5 inches for the length and 3.5 inches for the width. So just like we did in the square where we took our 4 inches and divided that by 2, we're going to take a 5 and divide that by 2. So we're going to take the rectangle and the measuring tape, and to the best of your ability, you're going to find the 2.5-inch mark. I'll help you mark it. Alright, now we're going to use our straight edge. To draw that line of symmetry across the length. Okay, now checking again with our definition, we're going to fold that right in half, and notice that it will create two perfect sides, just like a hot dog. Now we're going to do our width the same way, using the measuring tape. And 3.5 divided by 2 is going to be 1.75. So we're going to be looking for 1.75 inches out this way, or starting from side. Okay, so we're going to go right about, obviously where the line of symmetry met the other side. I'm going to fold that in half here. Check to see that it's 2 perfect halves, and move on to the next shape. I hope we're understanding the concept a little bit better. Moving on to the circle next, I guess. This one's going to be 3 inches across. I'm going to go back to our measuring instrument, find a half of 3.0, which is going to be 1.5, and mark that with your pencil. Okay, now to go back to your straight edge, use whatever you have nearby. And let's draw that line of symmetry straight across the circle. Alright, now, again, folding part, fold it right on your line of symmetry and make sure that's the same on either side. The right side is going to be the same as the left side. Now finally, just for a little bit more practice, we're going to do the triangle. Alright, again, I'll help you mark. Alright, now our triangle, this is going to be our right angle, of course. Now this side, it says here, is going to be 5.5 inches. So 5.5 inches divided by 2, we're going to be looking for 2.75. Right about there. Alright, now to go ahead, go back to your straight edge. Draw your line of symmetry. Should be doing this pretty quickly by now. And do your quick fold check. And perfect. Okay, now, to get a little bit more complicated with this, and a little bit more fun, I'm going to have you do an activity of your own, where you're going to decide on your own what object you're going to draw, as long as it has a perfect line of symmetry and you're able to find it using the resources that you already have. Alright, so gotten the flowers are drawing here. Now, as you can see, it's going to be even on all sides. We're going to have 4 of these petals out here, 4 in here, perfect circle in the middle, presumably. And then on the way down the stem, we're going to have 2 symmetrical leaves on each side. Now go ahead and find your line of symmetry and please draw it through your object. Use your measuring tape. Go over to your straight edge. You're going to draw that line from top to bottom across your object very carefully. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, fold that object right at its line of symmetry. And it'll be perfect on both sides. So, that was lines of symmetry, and I hope you learned something today.